at this. I keep forgetting to come up here. I guess they might switch this out every week or something. You look at all that. Somebody went and built all this, right? And like you can see the imagination, because that's what the set is supposed to be. And that's what it turns into, right? This is the type of thing that helps the brain do complex calculations, right? And that's important to remember because that's what your imagination is. This is the first display, I think, but it was over there to the left. And I think it is just so. Look at that. He's trying to make a B2. Okay. I mean, you had to do that with your mind's eye, right? So that goes back to the if thine eye is full of light, thy body is full of life, you know? Right? Because, see, the instructions in the building actually starts within the mind. And notice that there's a reflection because this isn't rendered. It's important that as technology consistently evolves, you know, or changes, that you always prove that you're you when you're making videos, right? Because there's tons of people who fake it. And don't get me wrong, some of those are cool, but I mean, it takes a little bit more effort to walk around and film something with a cell phone, let alone if anybody actually cares. So I don't think that this has changed around a bit. I think it's interesting. Somebody donated a button, and look at that. Look at that. Ooh. It's a cubit. Boop. Don't touch that button. And then there is the guy from Aerosmith. Who is that? Ooh, it's Jim Morrison. Excuse me. And then, so as you walk over, look at the comfy chairs they got, right? I'm all decking the camera over just to only get myself because I'm that selfish. Or just because I don't want to deal with any sort of infractions. Look at that. He's one of those little doll houses when you could just build one out of Legos, you know? Look at that. I'm just telling you. I mean, there's some toys that girls and boys can play with together, you know? Look at that. That reminds you of all those doll houses, doesn't it? It's important because then they get the same type of, it's a brain training exercise. You know, neurons that fire together wire together. So it's very important to use stuff like this competently because of spatial relations and assembly of items, right? But when you see it come from the imagination and it still fits, like the numbers matched up with the exact amount of pieces, then you realize that the brain is making calculations based off of how many pieces in scale relation to what it's trying to build, what the imagination produced. Again, this is the TriMet bus stop. I love this. I don't think that they made this as a set. I think that this had to be like ordered, but it's still pretty cool. You know? It's totally a trendset. Watch, I'm going to turn on my light. Oh, reflection. So, again, with Turing's situation, like how the brain works, you know, I see an argument with how we process data, if that's what you really want to call it. But then the other problem resides in the fact that if we kill the imagination, then all of a sudden great artistic works don't come about. I don't see the instructions for this. Was there instructions? I mean, how did this one come to be, right? I don't think that this is normal. I don't think that this is a Lego set you could buy. Here we go again, you know. Did this all come from somebody's imagination? Was it a kid? And then what nourishment do you actually provide, you know? So that's why libraries and schools are so important and worrying about actually teaching kids how to do those things, you know, like artwork and PE and different things and auto shop. It would be nice. Like I got a couple years of auto shop, but without going to Alpha, I wouldn't have done any other type of work. You know, I would have just done the same basic school work. I wouldn't have went to the YMCA Youth in Government. I wouldn't have went and worked with Friends of Trees. You know, I wouldn't have gotten some of that. But this is, I mean, you got to admit, these kids are geniuses, and if you nourish that, that'll be even better. So I think focusing on the core values of what makes this possible is necessary versus what everybody else wants, which was not necessary.